So my name is Jane Irwin, and this is Sharon McKenzie. We've been in real estate about 6 years. It was 2016 was our first deal in October. We do have at least 100 deals, about 114 now under our belt. All different kinds: flips, wholesales, rentals, seller finance, lease options. So not experts, and we are more practitioners. So we haven't done a lot of teaching or speaking, but we are out there getting deals. And one thing we find out in as you get more experience, you get more deals in your inbox. So your inbox is constantly full. And how do you get through those emails to like see what is a good deal, what catches your attention, what is going to take up more time, because you don't want to spend an hour on each one of your emails trying to see, if that's a good deal or if that's something that you should, kind of continue with. So we just put this together it's about 15-20 minutes, and then tons of questions if you have them. So just how to look at a deal and evaluate it in less than 5 minutes when they come in your inbox, or people are calling, or all the texting and every other kind of way that you're getting a deal every day.
I know that everybody here has different niches in the real estate, residential buying, and reasons, areas that you like. So first thing, location. You might have some zip codes or some areas in town that you like to invest in or that you're comfortable with. Jane and I, we are like Nicole in that we go out of state as well. We buy houses from several different states, and we have boots on the ground at different ones. So we really have to hone in on what we're looking for and what zip codes and what areas that we like. And we like, neighborhoods that have good ingress and egress to get in and out of the neighborhoods. We look at the crime area. We don't really like houses that are on main busy highways and roads. And then, a lot of times school districts, the better school districts, the houses get sold more quickly, or you can rent them out more easily.
So, and it depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for rentals, flips, whatever. And I'll just give you a brief example. Like, we do have an affinity for Daytona Beach. We had an Airbnb over there that we got pretty accustomed to the areas, and we still look for properties over on that East Coast. But we do know what zip codes are good and bad. So, today a wholesaler's, sent, and, typically wholesalers, if, they don't always send you the address, they just send you a teaser. So the fella sent something in saying, hey, Daytona Beach. We just went back, what zip code is it? He sent it back 32114. So we know that's Holly Hill. We know that's not where we want to invest. It's not a good Airbnb place. So 14 and 17 over in Daytona Beach is not something we're going to look for. We're going to look for 18 or 19, which is down by, the beach and off the beach and a better area. So just those little things right away, I can look at an email, and that one is a waste of my time. I'm not going to look for it. And then you get accustomed to the crime areas where, we'll bring it back to Baltimore City. We did have a lot of houses. We pretty much sold all of them now. They're slowly dwindling. But, in the beginning, we didn't necessarily know all the ins and outs. So we had a couple houses in 13 and 23. Not a great area, not a good crime area. It's, a lot of nonsense going on there. So that wasn't the best area for us at the time. But in 2016, maybe we didn't know as much as we know now. So now we won't, we don't really look in Maryland anymore, just going back to the earlier conversation about landlord friendly. But, that's areas we're going to stay away from, 30, 26. So, know the zip codes where you're looking. And again, we get 1 million emails a day from Baltimore wholesalers. I can just zero some of that out right away because it's in a crime area.
Yeah, and it is frustrating when wholesalers do send you properties and they don't give you all the information, and then you have to waste more time and get back to them and ask them, what's the full address or what's this? And, I guess they want to hold on to their property, and they don't want daisy chainers, which, other wholesalers going in there and trying to add more to it, to the amount, and try to make more profit off of yours. So I get it, but it's, it's frustrating when you're trying to, you get so many, we get wholesalers from 10 or 11 different states that we invest in, and we do have to hone in on this pretty quickly. Otherwise we would be in front of the computer all day and not get anything done. And of course we look at price points. The first thing we do is when we get the house and it looks like something good and we get past the location part, is to throw it up on the internet and do a quick look at a map, an aerial map, see where it is, see, how it looks with the, like I was saying before, the ingresses, the egresses, the main roads. Is there, the grocery stores and, housing, developments around it, schools, parks, and then, do a quick, Zestimate search. I know Zestimate, or, one of the other, realtor sites, I know it's not the end all be all. And a lot of times Zestimate, they'll overinflate the price. So I always at least take 10% off of what Zestimate is saying that the house is worth, just, knowing, because we use two different, investor comps platforms that we can get into and sign on to, look at comps more clearly and more easily. But just a quick cursor, the 5 minutes, like we're teaching you, is we go into, different, MLS sites.
And with the Zestimate, there's a couple reasons for that. So if you're trying to get private money on a house, like that's one thing, passive investors who just want to lend money don't always have, investor comps, prompt stream, some of these other, platforms to get comps, or they're not going to call up a real estate agent. So they'll look at Zestimate, and if you want to borrow 190 for a house and it's only worth 170, that's not a good deal for them, and you don't even want to take them that deal because they're gonna think that you don't know your numbers. So just a quick Zestimate tells you a lot of stuff, and it also tells you, for your rental figures, if you look at a Zestimate and it's 300,000, but you can only get $1,200 rent. Those numbers don't make sense either. You're not even at the 1% rule. So why would you even look at that house if you're zoning in on a rental house, that's what you're looking for at the time?
And then we always look at the photos that are provided from the wholesalers or whatever area that we get the deal from, because you can, if you know what you're looking for, you can look for foundation issues or major problems that you really want to avoid, or if it looks like a tear down, and it's a lot of work, and you might want to just take that one off the plate immediately.
And the wholesalers are always, like I think it was last week we said, don't overestimate your price and don't underestimate your rehab. Wholesalers, a lot of people, even foreclosures, they will tell you the price of the rehab is a lot less when you can clearly just quickly look at the picture. So if you need to be at 200,000, all in, and it's $100,000 rehab and they want 150 right away, less than 5 minutes, you don't even have to go any farther, because or your negotiating point, which, maybe we'll get into that a little bit later in the year, but right away, that you're nowhere close to that price that they want.
It was funny today. I was looking at a house, outside of Tampa. It's like an hour north of us. And it said a beautiful house on a well sought after neighborhood. And the first picture was this frame house that was angled sideways. A gust of wind looked like it was going to knock it down. So it was definitely a tear down, and they were trying to get top dollar for it. And so it's funny, that first picture that some, wholesalers or different people that send us deals put on there. And that's another thing. Don't be afraid just to eliminate them from your list. Just delete that contact. If you keep getting the same wholesaler that's peddling you junk, just eliminate them. That way that's less garbage that you have to go through, and it shortens your time for doing these quick 5-minute evaluations.
Can you go into a little bit of what the 1% rule is? How do you figure it? What is it?
Just if your house is 200,000 all in, you want to at least be getting $2,000 rent.
You want to get a percentage, 1% rent of the price of the house. So like $100,000 house, you want at least $1,000 rent. Like Jane was saying, a $2,000 house, you want $2,000 rent.
And we actually like to be at the, well, early on in Baltimore, we were probably at the 2%, but, like we tend to like to be at 1.5 or 1.25, because that's going to build up your reserves, and that's a whole nother conversation probably.
Yeah, you look at the reserves and the taxes you have to pay on it, and the rehab amount, you have to take the rehab amount out of it first, and then you want a solid 1% at least. That's a minimum that you're looking for to have, if it's straight rents for like year lease type of rents.
Awesome, thank you.
Of course. Did I pass one? Did I miss one? Not sure. Shoot. I'm sorry, I think I missed.
Now we really miss.
Slide. I'm so-
Technology is sometimes.
Sorry,
our
guys.
friend and
Sorry.
sometimes not our.
Location, do we do the price point? We did this with the foundation. Okay, specifics. Then you quickly look into the specifics. Once you see a house, you like the location, the price point looks good, it looks like a good spread on it. Then you want to look at more of the specifics of the house real quick, like the year built, the construction type, especially in the southern states. You won't, it's anywhere actually, but especially in the southern states, you want masonry construction that's more sought after. It's a stronger house that withstand the storms. Plus, down in the lower states down here, you have two different kinds of termites. So with the masonry, you get less of termite damage to the house. And of course, it's more of a solid structure. You want to look at the bedroom and the bathroom count. We really like, our favorite is at least 3 bedrooms and at least 2 bathrooms. That's like ideal. That's the sweet spot. And then, looking at the overall layout of the house, sometimes the layout can be funky and it's not functional at all. It might have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, but we've seen some funky layouts where you have to walk in the door and walk through somebody's bedroom from the main entrance of the house, or there's a full bathroom right off the kitchen next to the refrigerator. It's right.
Or a lot of the in Baltimore City or out in the county, they have a lot of those attics that are upstairs, and they count that as a full bedroom. But then it's like if you have older folks or different stuff, they're not going to be able to climb up to the attic. So
And there's no headroom,
the short ones.
In the basement or the attic up north where there's basements, it'll be 5-foot ceilings. We've actually seen, we looked at a house that was a modular home down here a couple of years ago, and the ceilings were about 5.5 foot.
Yeah,
It was less than 6 foot tall. The ceilings were in the main hallway to go from the main part of the house to the bedrooms were so narrow. You couldn't even, like if somebody had a walker trying to get a walker through there, you couldn't even get through there. So you want to look at, the layout and some weird situations and with the house, because people do some weird rehab into the house to try to add more things to it. It just does not work out. And
then something else you want to look at, and we have a lot of that down here. I don't remember that as much in Maryland or some of the other states we're in, but the HOA and the rules, and you really have to pay attention to that, how much the fee is, because that can go into your rental money. If it's a $600 HOA fee every month and you're only getting $1,200 rent, that's not going to work. And some of the rules with the leases and different stuff. So right away that could, if you're wanting to do a Airbnb and it has HOA rules where you can't do that, that property would just be out of the realm of what you're going to do.
yeah, it's, an example is we just looked at a house Monday. Was that Monday?
Mhm.
It was a lady that her mom passed away and she inherited the house, and she actually coincidentally she was from Maryland, and she had invited us over to the house, and she needed a little bit more money for it than it would have, plus the HOA fees for a regular straight rental. So we were looking at different strategies, and we were thinking corporate rental because it's between 2 hospitals. So we thought we could get like a corporate nursing in there, a traveling nurse in there program where they're usually there for 3 months at a time. Then, you know, and the nurses will, actually rent a room. There was 3 rooms in there. You could get 3 nurses in there. There's 3 bathrooms, so it was perfect. And we have to really look at the HOA rules, because she said the rules were a little bit hard to understand, where it said that you could rent it. The shortest they want you to rent it was a 30-day period, which would have been fine for the corporate nurses. But then they said you could only have 4 rentals in there a year, which it might work, because, you know, 30, usually the nurses are 3 months, so that would be 4 a year. So, but you know, we have to look at it even further to see if it's even doable. So you know, the HOAs can make or break at the deal really quickly.
And that idea popped in our head just because we had a young lady here that's a nurse and was talking about that.
Exactly.
So, I don't know if she's on tonight. I can't see the screen with our PowerPoints off, but that's kind of where that came from. So
It was really cool. We talked to her, and then our wheels were spinning, so we did more research on corporate rentals and housing. And then this lady, like, you can get deals virtually anywhere and just get it, put yourself out there and talk to people. We have a golden retriever, and we were at the dog park, and the lady, she was, you know, asked us where we were from, and we found out we were all from Maryland and everything. And then she told us their circumstances and all. And then a couple days later, we were at her house trying to come up with a solution for her. So hopefully we can get stuff together and work it out with her. But you know, you never know where the deals are going to come from.
and then just, you know, with any property, and we always do this, it doesn't matter if we look at it for 5 minutes or 5 hours, you always want to have exit strategies for every property. You know, are you going to wholesale it, or are you going to flip it? You know, is it going to be a rental? If you flip it and that doesn't work, you know, can you rent it out and make the same account? You know, the money will be long term, but you know, can you do that, or can you just get rid of the property by wholesaling if it doesn't meet any of your strategies? And when you're looking at properties, you know, keep that in the back of your mind. We have certain people that, you know, if we find a property in Florida, he'll probably, you know, 90% of the time he'll buy it, sometimes in Georgia. So if you have a really good buyer and it's not necessarily a property that you would be interested in, just keep that in the back of your mind. If you have a buyer, you know, even when you're looking at it for 5 minutes, does that fit one of those criteria where you put the house under contract and then you're going to wholesale it out? But so just keep all those things in mind. And pretty much that's the strategies we use for 5 minutes looking at them and scrolling through all the emails.
That's great.
Does anybody have any questions or about this or any other topics?
Guess we can unshare the screen so we can talk. There we go.
Yes, hi. Well, this is fine. Let's see, I got a question. Since you invest out of state, let me see now. Wonder how do you get contacts from out of state for your deals or to find deals?
Yeah, I think it comes down to just networking. We you know, early on we didn't see the importance of networking, and you know, kind of, you know, we were a little shy or a little introverted, whatever. So we didn't really put ourselves out there. But you know, now we have such a big network that, you know, no matter what state we're in, we probably know somebody. No matter what area we're in, we probably know somebody. And then there's just other sites that we're active on, wholesaling groups, or you know, and you can pretty much find a reliable person. Just you know, we'll jump on a Zoom with them and then just say, hey, you know, can you go look at this property, or can you you know, tell me a good real estate person? So I think it just comes down to networking and doing your due diligence, and that would be the two things we use.
And when we do go to other states, we bring people in the deal, or even in our state. You know, if it's a good deal and other people are helping, you know, we all can get a piece of the profit.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Don't be shy.
So if you had to go
Sarah.
back, oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, it's Aaron. I have a quick question. I mean, quick. As far as like wholesaling, when you were talking earlier about, basically wholesalers are bringing some deals and you're like, yeah, we just need to kind of cut them off. And what are those kind of deal breaker things of like what are you looking for when a wholesaler brings you something versus they're completely like in left field and, not even an option? Just curious to get a bit.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times it's price and lying on the rehab numbers. I mean, if it's a complete tear down and they're like, hey, it's 25,000 to fix, if they typically keep bringing those same numbers that are wrong or just not knowing their comps, and that's a big one. And I've seen this a lot. Like when we moved to Florida, I would see that in Baltimore where if we weren't from Maryland, we wouldn't have necessarily known, because they'll do a comp that's, Baltimore's block by block. So if you don't know that and you're harping that with out of state buyers, you can be in one block and it's a $400,000 house and you can be 2 blocks over and it's a tear down board up block. So you got to comp it out right. So I don't like wholesalers to, make up comps and use a comp that's nowhere close. And I don't like wholesalers that, kind of make up the rehab numbers. We basically, when we wholesale a property, we take every picture, the good, the bad, the ugly, because I don't want to waste an investor's time by showing like all the, the 5 good pictures and then him getting there and, it's like, shitty foundation or, the windows are all broken and, we didn't show that and that's a waste of his time. And then he's not going to call me again either. So those kind of things, bad pictures, bad comps, not knowing what they're talking about, and I'm not necessarily a fan of hiding the address. I know why people do it, but still like we'll make that initial contact and say, what's the address? And they know we're interested and then they still don't give us 100 block or they just give us a street name and then I got to figure it out. So I'll typically just disregard them.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. We started out wholesaling. So we found out the things that investors like and they don't like and wasting their time. So then that's kind of what we use when we vet wholesalers. And like another example, sometimes they'll have a sheet for us to fill out. What are you looking for? What areas? And we do that in other states. And we like Alabama, but we like certain places in Alabama. And I went to a couple different wholesalers and I told them we just don't have boots on the ground in Birmingham. We don't like Birmingham. And 2 of them keep every week sending me houses in Birmingham. So I'm about to delete them out.
Yeah, you just unsubscribe.
Yeah,
So
'cause
They're about to be dead to you.
yes, exactly. So just, time wasting pretty much.
Yeah,
like Jane
that makes
said.
sense. And for me, this is more just like I'm working with a wholesaler now that I'm just trying to understand like the whole picture of everything. But how does the wholesaler get compensated when they either like when you guys are wholesaling property or wholesalers bring it to you? They get a percentage? Is that usually how it works, or a fee or attached to the sale, or how does that work?
Yeah, the wholesaler usually attach their fee on. So if the home buyer is selling it or the home sellers they're selling it for say 15,000 and they want to make 5,000, they'll just typically tack that on. If we JV with somebody, we typically just always split 50-50. If there's plenty out there for everybody. So if we bring the buyer and he's got the contract or
vice versa,
we'll just split 50-50. But they usually tack their fee on and then, that's your negotiating power too, because, back when everybody lost their mind a couple years ago, this last 2 years, the wholesalers down here they're tacking on like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to a sale, and at the time, nobody cared what they paid for housing. And we typically didn't buy and they weren't budgeting off their number. So, sometimes they get it. There's a company, New Western, and they're down here, Property Force, and they seem to be high on their numbers. We don't typically buy from them because there's no negotiation, but the wholesalers mostly you can negotiate. And, we have some good ones and we think that we're pretty decent at wholesaling ourselves. So we know what to look for. And, it always comes down to, for us, if it's a good deal and we make a couple thousand, it's a good deal for the flipper, everybody's happy and you make some money and just keep it moving instead of just, negotiating, not talking. And then 3 months later, you still have the house and they still don't have the house. And then you're still on the same price. And then you finally do the deal and you wasted three months of time.
Sometimes I think, this is Nicole, that a lot of wholesalers are new in this business and they don't really know what they're doing. They have been taught by folks who are interested in making a little money rather than really helping people understand what the business is. And so I don't know, are you guys, I have a two-part question. The first one is, are you guys seeing a lot of people who are bringing in potential deals that just don't make sense?
Yes,
Yeah, especially.
absolutely.
Yeah, so like when the market was high, people were buying everything. So now you're going to kind of weed out the ones who just got lucky during the high market and just, came in and capitalized. They're not going to be able to be as successful now because then you really have to work the numbers and really help people and do things the right way. And we have had some wholesalers in the past that, sure, if they're open, we'll, coach them up and show them what we're looking for and, the best way to wholesale. But sometimes they don't always listen. Like you have one that you kind of tucked under your wing and well, does it work out all the time?
Yeah, no, not always.
And then the second part is more of the people who are teaching the new wholesalers to go get $30,000-$40,000 on top of a deal that doesn't make sense is starting to blow back in the political realms. And so number one is that people will get a property under contract and they will hold it up for 2 or 3 months and then the seller can't sell it, right? So they are stuck into something. And I would just say, for those of you out there, if that was your brother or your grandmother or something, and somebody locked up a house under contract that they knew that they wasn't going to close, and they couldn't move on to sell it to somebody else, would you be unhappy with those people? And I think a lot of people would. And the other point is that when people are trying to get $30,000 or $40,000 in a wholesale fee on top of what a rehabber needs, you have to say, where is that money coming from? And that money is coming from the homeowner, who is a lot less sophisticated than you are. And if that was your grandmother, think about the optics of that. That people who say, you're stealing my grandmother's equity, can sell that really pretty easily, because that money really is coming from them. And so some of that comes back to our ethics, I think. And we're thinking about, we're not just dealing about us trying to buy and who we're trying to sell to or who we're trying to buy from. Or I think we're also needing to think about the seller and keep them in our mind as we are crafting deals in one way, shape, or form. But that's just my opinion.
Right. And I think it depends where the property comes from. I mean, we've certainly had, I think the most we've probably made is probably 18 or 19, but that most of that came from a foreclosed house, and it was like way plenty. Like sometimes we'll put the price up a little high than what we think it should be, because I know people are going to negotiate. So, and it depends who I'm selling to. The one guy, now I just give him the price. It's not, he's going to agree or not agree. It's either a good deal for him or not. But I think you get to know people. But you're definitely right with the homeowner. They don't know. And, if there's that $60,000 spread that, the flipper's still going to take it, then you obviously kind of screwed them out of some money that they should have had. And we want it to be a win-win for everybody. They're trusting us to sell the house. So we're not just going to throw a number and a contract out there and then, hope we sell it. Those numbers have to match. It's kind of like the lady in Sarasota. There's certain things she wants and certain things that, maybe we'll master lease it from her instead because she wants to keep the house in the family. You have to find a solution that makes everybody happy. And that's kind of what we're here to do is find that, not just, kind of take the house from somebody and make 60,000 and keep it moving.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times where we'd go to people's houses and we've solved a problem for them. And it was a problem that they were able to carry it and do what they needed with it. And we walked away without making any profit, because it's not always about making the profit. It's solving people's problems, helping people, doing good for the community. So
Yeah,
And
you got-
sometimes the best thing for them is to list it with a realtor. So, and that's a time you can give back to your realtors. I mean, early on, we didn't realize, asking them to run comps on every house and asking them to, go look at houses and take pictures. We didn't necessarily realize that was such like a burden until, at some point after a couple of weeks, you're like, God, we're putting a lot on them. So that's something, you might go in and say, hey, this is better for you to put on MLS, not us. And then they sell it. And then in the same vein, your real estate agent is going to kick you stuff that's like, hey, this can't go on MLS, but maybe you can do something for them.
Yeah, you guys are both really ethical. I've known you for quite a while now. So all my point is that and I probably didn't make it very clearly, is that the wholesaling business has changed a lot in the last few years. And it's not, and so that's kind of a beware, and it's not always in the homeowner, the person homeowner, not the bank, not the other things. I think we could all think a little bit more. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a preachy, but ethics is important in this business to me.
yes,
Let me just leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the more, because it's all the get rich quick. I mean, early on we heard, oh my God, you can do real estate and you can make thousands of dollars a month and all this stuff, and you can do it quick and you don't need to know much. I think all that hype has kind of made people a little bit lazy with the training. And, sometimes it's like, oh, you can do this, and they're just trying to get people all hyped up. And then that person that took that training is like, God, I got to make a sale. And, they're not necessarily trained the right way to actually go out and complete a wholesale and make it ethical and make it right and make a little bit of money along the way.
because you're right, Nicole, like, when we do wholesales, when we have the higher spread, like Jane was saying, they're bank owned. But if we make, with our typical wholesale fee with a regular homeowner is maybe 3,000 to 5,000, unless we go in there and we fix the house up a little bit ourselves, put some equity into it, and also we can bring that spread up a little bit. We call it hoteling, where you could go in and clean out the garbage and trash from there, maybe fix a couple broken windows or do very light cosmetics on it and then sell it to a investor, and you can make a better spread that way. So there's always solutions. We're always looking for the creative ways to spruce things up and make a deal happen.
That's great. Thank you, all of you, for that info. It's really helpful.
Sure.
And I am a realtor also, so if anyone needs help, let me know.
Where are you, Erin?
I'm in Maryland, and
Okay.
I mean, I live in Pennsylvania actually, but I do Maryland and Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, cool.
Perfect. Feel free to put your information in
In the chat, yeah.
the chat if you want to.
I would love that. Thank you.
Of course.
So someone was asking what states we
Oh,
were
sorry.
in, and I didn't know if she was talking about the academy, which I told her is obviously worldwide because it's online. So she said that, and then also if you want to share, how many states are you guys in?
I think 11. I think the Carolinas, Maryland, we're, again, that's that's on our list of going out. I think we might have 5 properties left there. We just sold a couple more.
We actually have a couple rehabbers there, so we would flip in different areas, definitely like, of course, like Anne Arundel County or Baltimore County, different areas. We wouldn't say
But
no
still the
to.
taxes. Oh my
Yes.
God. But
So we definitely wouldn't say no, but it would, circumstantial. We do, Georgia, Alabama, Indiana.
Mississippi, Florida, Indiana, we have several rentals in Gary, Indiana. So
And we have a
East
really,
Coast,
really good
mostly.
team there. I'm sorry.
East Coast and on the east side of the country mostly.
Mostly,
Yep,
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 yes.
I'm on the West Coast, and
Where are you?
Well, I'm in Las Vegas, so not really West Coast, but west side of the country.
yeah, okay.
And
Yep.
it's, yeah, the market's changed dramatically. So I happen to have some people in Baltimore that I work with, realtors, and I have a general contractor and stuff, but I haven't kind of fully gotten there. I acquired a property through a tax lien and or a tax deed, and I wholesaled that property, but I think my biggest thing is just I've never done this long distance other than that deal. And I think that is what is really daunting to me. Like, I know it's, when I really think about it, I'm not like at the property all the time, so I don't really know what my problem is. I think it's just a lot. Like, I noticed that you guys rehab costs are a lot higher than ours. And then the other thing is what your construction materials are so different than ours, because we use a lot of drywall, and I mean, not drywall, but like stucco housing and things like that. You guys have a lot of brick housing there. And I've just kind of, like, did you guys start off doing it remotely, or like, how did you? I'm always fascinated by people who are like, oh yeah, I've got a place here, a place there. I'm like, I would be a nervous wreck if I wasn't able to go see the property.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a story when we started. We lived in Maryland and we had just started. And then we were in the midst of moving to Florida, which, the original plan was go back and forth, kind of as we had to. So, initially when we had a couple rehabs going, so we did have to go back and forth, but after a while, that 14-hour ride gets to be something that you don't want to do. So, after a while it was like, well, hey, we can see pictures, or, and you just learn as you can go. We had one house where the guy took pictures for us, but it was a different house. It wasn't our house, it was somebody else's house. So then it's got to be, now you have to take a video showing the address, walking up the steps, opening the door. So you kind of learn as you go with the long distance. But, for us, it just kind of, it was like, well, we can do this from Florida to Maryland. So why can't we do it from Florida to Georgia? Or why can't we do it? And then you just stumble onto good people that become part of your team. Our contractor in Gary, Indiana was that was just a chance thing where somebody we knew had talked to him. We gave him a little bit of, can you fix some drywall? And then that got to be good. And, we've done 3 or 4 flips with him as well. He does very good work. We know we can trust him. He has his paperwork. He sends us the videos. So you just, you become more comfortable with those kind of things. And when you wholesale, as long as there's a lockbox on there, then, we just, we'll get an ID or we'll get an email so we know it's a real person and how we can get in contact with them. And then, we just we have people that, will just say, hey, can you go make sure he locked up? And, everybody's happy with going by someplace and they get a gift card, or, as long as you appreciate people, I think you'll have people do stuff for you that, they might not necessarily do. And as long as you're not taking advantage of them. And then it just became, well, we can do it here. We can do it in Mississippi. We can do it in Alabama. And,
Yeah,
pretty soon you're.
I found that the realtor that I used out there was she's been real good. I'm trying to get I think it's more just psychological for me. I'm going to have to just do it.
Yeah, if you've already done one and that worked out okay, and initially our rehabs when we were from, in Maryland from Florida, they
Right.
were, they were kind of light. It wasn't like it, we wouldn't do, I don't think even now we would do a full, well, I guess we did in Indiana, so never mind.
We trust him exclusively.
Right, if it was just somebody we didn't really know, a contractor that we haven't used a lot, and it was, just a light cosmetic, yeah, we wouldn't do a full gut.
Right.
Everything needs to come down, walls and roof and all that stuff. And like even Maryland, for roofs, anytime we need a roof in Maryland, we call Dave Wandell because we know, he's gonna do it. I don't have to babysit him. He's gonna do the right thing and he's gonna charge us the right price and
Solid guy.
you get people that you trust and then, you kind of build a team from there. They typically have, a plumber that they trust and a
Right.
electrician that they trust and you just go from there.
And we also do like
Right.
tactics and different strategies. When we're not there, we'll have a house and we'll lease option it or owner finance it to a builder or a handyman, know that he can handle the work and then have in the contract that they're going to maintain it and take care of all the issues with it. And then, eventually they'll own that house. So that might be a good tactic. That way,
Start
It's,
out
you know,
with, yeah.
yeah, definitely. So that we always like to do that. That way we're not responsible for all the rehabs. We'll get in there and do things to maintain the integrity of the house, like the roof and the systems working in the windows, and then they can do all the cosmetics and all themselves. They get the house at a cheaper price, and we do some sort of owner financing with them. So
Right. Okay. That sounds good. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for all that. I'm just, I'm networking too. So if anybody who wants to put their contact information, there's not a whole lot going on. Well, I mean, I think there's deals everywhere, but Vegas is a hard market right now. So it's a little bit rough, but, I think what you said, like the cream will rise to the top, the people that are doing this and know what they're doing will definitely, you'll start to see that. But thank you.
Right, no doubt.
absolutely.
Yep, thank you. Thanks for being here.
So there's a question, Jane and Sharon, in the chat box. What's the best way to get in contact with you two?
I just put the email in there.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, James.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sitting here trying to type from the other side. I appreciate that. Thank you.
James.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Sharon and Jane. I have a question. How do you compensate people that help you take pictures? Let's say you guys find the property, right? And you wanted to make sure everything, in order with the house, make sure structure is okay and foundation is okay and everything, right? So you're gonna send somebody over there, take some pictures and take a look at the place. And then later on you say, hey, I think I like this place because the rent looks pretty good. I decided to keep it, right? How do you compensate the person who helped you with the pictures?
I mean, yeah, mostly it's a fee. So, it's like anything else, we'll find somebody and just say, hey, how much will you charge us to run over and take some pictures? And, you typically it's, it depends if it's on their way, out of their way. We've paid a couple $100 or, sometimes it's $50, just because it's on their way or it's in their neighborhood or whatever. There's a couple, different, we're very active on Facebook and there's a lot of different groups in there. There's a wholesaling group, run by Alex, Youngblood. And then there's a women's wholesale group that, sometimes we'll jump on there and not to start any kind of stuff or whatever, but like a lot of times on the wholesaling group, a couple of the guys would be like, oh yeah, I'll get to it next week or 3 weeks from now. But I could typically, because the women were trying to learn. So, it's like, they would jump right on it and run down to the house. But we typically, monetarily, and then, sometimes if it's somebody that we work with over and over, there's a young lady in Alabama that typically goes and looks at houses for us. So not only monetarily, but just staying in touch, sending a gift card and
we've split equity with her as well. You can do that. You can split equity. You can, be creative with it. How you give back to the people that help you out. And
I see. Okay, thank you.
And like our contractor that we can't talk enough about the guy that in Indiana, he we've send them gift cards. If they need, money lending, we'll provide money for them. We've helped them acquire houses. They, had a house and didn't have all the money for the repairs, and we've split profits with them on houses. We've grabbed houses that they were interested in. So we work with them different ways to add value and to work things out with them. Since him and his wife, they're a great team. It's the son, it's 3 of them, and they do a phenomenal job.
So you told them beforehand, right? You say, hey, you know, if you go ask the handyman and say, hey, if you check out on the, you know, the house and give me a report or whatever, and then I'll pay you $200 or whatever. So you told them beforehand, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Just, you know, come to an agreement. It's like anything else. You know, we have some people that'll just drive by because it's on their way, and then we'll shoot them a gift card just so we're not, you know, using them or whatever. But, you know, if it's like somebody that we don't know and it's just kind of, you know, that we come to an agreement, it's, you know, hey, will you go look at this house and take a picture and a video? I mean, there's so many different Zelle and Cash App and all these little things. You can just shoot them money as soon as they send us the video and the pictures. We send them money, and then that's somebody that you have in that area that you can go to again because you know they did what they were supposed to do. You did what you were supposed to do, and they made some money. So typically they'll reach back out and say, hey, do you need us to look at any other houses for you?
And that's what we're careful. If we have, like, we start an area and we have a couple of people involved in helping us out, we'll get a smaller house or the least expensive house with not as much work, or we wholesale quickly. That way we don't, something happens, it's not too bad of a huge deal. You know, we can do something with it, sell it real quick.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? I think next week, since we've been talking about contractors, maybe we'll do we're 15 minutes next week, 15, 20 minutes, we probably went over. But we'll do the you know, maybe how to vet a contractor, both virtually and, you know, if you see them, it's a little bit harder for us to do it virtually, but you know, different ways that you can do that
And protect yourself.
Sound good?
I think it'd be a great topic. Yeah.
Awesome. If anybody has any other ideas for topics they want to go over, feel free to put them in the chat or
Email them to us or. And we're always on Facebook, so you can jump on there. The Virtual Academy has a Facebook page too, so you can jump on there.
Well, check it out. Definitely check it out.
Nice job, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.